Okay, good morning. I wanted to start, just before I start my short presentation, I wanted to sort of say that I'm coming at it from three perspectives, really, or have three different hats on, if you like. One of it is from 11 years at NFER carrying out research in the area of 14 to 19 education and from education to employment and careers guidance. The second is, prior to that, I was a lecturer in an FE college and I taught BTECs and foundation degrees. And the third is as a parent of three young people, one of whom has just finished a level 3 apprenticeship in business administration and in September is moving on to do a foundation degree at a local university. So he'll be working 4 days a week and going to university 1 day a week. The other two have poor things, undertaken medical training, so they're becoming doctors. And I can say from supporting all three of my children that, without a question of a doubt, the two that are carrying out the medical training and becoming doctors are carrying out by far the more vocational training. 50% is theory, and 50% of that is applying the theory that they've learned. So I just wanted to share those reflections with you before I actually start. Okay, in order to change attitudes towards vocational education and apprenticeships and ensure they're respected, we need to understand how young people currently make decisions about the pathways that they take post-14. The evidence will better equip us to understand how to change attitudes in the future. And as Ursula has said, this is clearly a 10 to 20 year sort of time period we're looking at. And we can use this evidence to underpin practice and policy. There's plenty of evidence in this area, but I've drawn on particularly for today, firstly, the Diplomas Evaluation. So NFR carried out the evaluation of the diplomas, which some of you, or hopefully most of you, will remember, but they came and went quite quickly. But the evaluation was actually 2007 to 2011. It was a complex qualification. There were there was a lot of industry involvement in the design of the qualifications, and they were applied qualifications. Secondly, I've drawn on a literature review that we carried out, which evaluated, for example, the Increased Flexibilities Programme, the Young Apprenticeship Programme, and research into how young people make decisions at 14 and 16. And thirdly, I've referred to a lot of work that NFR has carried out in the careers education and guidance system. And recently we've actually published a careers brief that is along with ASCL and ATL and the 157 group, and that's underpinned by the evidence in this area to help schools with this enormous challenge that they have in this area. Okay, so firstly, how do young people make decisions? Well, I'd like to look at three areas. Firstly, personal agency. It's clear young people have very different mindsets. How decided they are about their future will vary and for some will fluctuate. Decision-making is therefore individual and complex. That comes at no surprise. Some young people will need diverse support, some might need one-to-one support, as they're very undecided about what they want to do. Indeed, most young people don't know what they want to do when they grow up. I think many adults don't know what they want to do when they grow up. Skills are key. If young people have a more developed sort of decision-making skills, and by that I mean research skills, the ability to identify options, weigh up the pros and cons of their decisions, they're in a better position to consider all the options that are open to them. We must consider the importance of careers education from an early age, which covers these decision-making skills and preparation for the world of work. These are all important as platforms for decision-making. Secondly, I'd like to consider how young people are influenced by structural factors. Complex structural factors can complicate decision-making. For example, evidence has suggested that 11 to 16 schools, so schools for 11 to 16-year-olds, are sometimes more impartial than 11 to 18 schools who possibly might be concerned about their sixth form intake. There are clear implications from this. Young people need to have IAG about all the options open to them. including vocational educations and apprenticeships. Thirdly, a really important area, external influences. Firstly, parental influence. In our research in diplomas and many other pieces of research that we've carried out, the main influence cited is that that young people turn to parents for a lot of advice about what they should be doing. We must get parents more involved in IAG. They need to understand the changing landscape, the skills that will be required in the future for the next 10, 20, 30 years. And they must understand the options that are open for their young people, for their children, in order to help them make these informed choices. Indeed, there is evidence to suggest that some parents might not understand the benefits of less traditional routes. And secondly, employers. Young people are influenced by work experience, and as Alison said earlier, the demise of the Saturday jobs has compounded that. They need experience of the world of work, and they are influenced by employers. They do need to have a better understanding of the jobs market, including where future jobs might be and the nature of those jobs. And indeed, yesterday I was talking to one of the apprentices, and she sort of supported this evidence. When I asked her why she'd chosen an apprenticeship, she said it was because her college was very open and people had come in and talked to her about the apprenticeship, and also that her family was very supportive of her doing the apprenticeship. So what types of information do young people planning to take a vocational route value and use, indeed any route? What do they want? They want to know about the content and structure. They want to know the range of topics that are going to be covered in the course, training, qualification, whatever they're going to do. They need to know the structure. For example, how is it going to be assessed? How will the apprenticeship be assessed? They need to know information about progression. They want a clear understanding of the level of the qualification and where it can and possibly can't take them. They want to know about the learning style and method. Is it practical? Is it applied? In the diploma learners, it was quite clear that they were confused about the difference in between practical and applied learning, and many of them hadn't understood the amount of theory that was involved in the diplomas and the nature of that you learn the theory and then you apply that knowledge. They want to know about practicalities. They want to know, will this training, this course or whatever be delivered mainly in their home school, in another school, in a college, at an employer? They need to know about those sort of practicalities because many young people worry about things like travel. And critically, they want information about all the options open to them beyond their home school. Okay, so how do they want this information? They would like it to be tailored, so they do need some one-to-one advice and guidance. They'd like it to be delivered by well-informed people. This is key. We saw, as Connor said earlier, that the NFER Teacher Voice pointed out that the survey, the stat was that 2/3 of teachers would not advise young people, would rarely or never advise young people who had the ability to go to university to do an apprenticeship. It is critically important that teachers, subject and form teachers, have a far better awareness and understanding of all the options open to young people today. They would like to have more information from employers and from parents. So, again, more information. We need to get more information out to parents, not about the specific qualifications. Well, we do need to get more information out about specific qualifications, but also about trying to help their youngster actually make informed decisions. So to try and understand the type of learning that their young person actually would like to undertake, what their preferences, what their interests are. And in terms of employers, David and Claire, I think, said yesterday that in terms of their companies, they would be very happy for their current apprentices to go in and talk to young people in schools about what an apprenticeship is all about. And young people really like hearing from other young people, their peers a few years older. Okay, how they want it. They also want it to be timely at key transition points, but early enough. I cannot emphasize enough that young people need this information early. So in year 7, year 8, careers education in year 5, 6, but careers guidance in year 7, 8. And they need it in varied formats. So talks, as I said, including from young people. They need paper, leaflets, whatever, internet, tasters. They need to go to the employer, to the college, to wherever, to actually have a taster. They want visits from employers, from apprentices to come in. Perhaps in conclusion, I think we need to stop thinking about vocational and academic and start blurring the lines in between them, and perhaps need to talk about routes to the world of work. So finally, schools and colleges can make a massive difference to informing young people's decisions and changing attitudes. And I think the key is that we need collaborative provision and a collaborative approach, including from employers, providers and parents. This is in the best interests of young people and, as we've heard, in the economy as a whole. Okay, thank you.